Right now, as you are watching this, a massive pattern flip is developing across the United States. And I am not exaggerating when I say this. By March 8th, some cities will see temperatures 40 degrees above their average. 40 degrees. That is not a typo. That is not a glitch in the models. Denver, Omaha, Topeka, 40 degrees warmer than they should be. And then, just days later, the atmosphere is going to explode with severe thunderstorms, heavy rain, and a real flooding threat from Dallas all the way up to Chicago. But here is the thing. Before that warmth arrives, a winter storm is locking in on the Ohio Valley and the Northeast this weekend. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, a messy, dangerous cocktail that could make your Monday morning commute a nightmare. So if you live anywhere between Kansas City and Boston, you need to stay right here. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly when this storm hits your city, how bad it gets, and what comes after it. And trust me, what comes after it is the real story. Now I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now. Tell me where you are watching from, your city, your state. I am going to be responding to as many of you as I can with specific forecasts for your area. Because look, I know generic weather forecasts are useless. You do not care what is happening in Omaha if you live in Charlotte. So tell me where you are, and I will get back to you with what is actually heading your way. Seriously, drop that comment. Let me know where you are. All right, let me give you the full picture. And stick around, because at around the 5-minute mark, I am going to show you the exact cities that are about to get hammered by this pattern flip and what severe weather season is going to look like in early March. I am talking tornadoes, damaging winds, flash flooding, the whole deal. You do not want to miss that. And here is a little bonus for those of you still here in the first 30 seconds. I'm going to tell you something that even some meteorologists are not talking about yet. The European Ensemble model, one of the most reliable long-range models we have, is showing a pattern that does not just last a week. It persists and actually amplifies deeper into the middle of March. That means this is not a one-and-done event. This could be the start of a very active, very volatile stretch that lasts weeks. Weeks, not days. So buckle up. And one more thing. The probability for significant winter weather in the Ohio Valley right now sits at 15%. Now that might sound low, but when meteorologists use the word significant in that context, they mean potentially dangerous impacts, power outages, road closures, travel shutdowns. A 15% probability for something significant 5 to 7 days out is actually a pretty strong signal in the weather world, so do not dismiss it. Let us start with what is happening right now, tonight, Thursday, February 26th, 2026. We have got active weather already rolling across the southeast. Rain is falling right now from Raleigh down through Columbia into the Atlanta metro. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, you have got rain coming down as we speak. And up in Michigan, near Traverse City and Marquette, snow is already flying. But that is just the appetizer. The main course starts this weekend. And here is how it breaks down. There is a frontal boundary draped across the southeastern part of the country right now. That is firing up showers and thunderstorms. In central Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi, we could see some stronger storms tonight, maybe even some hail. And I know what you are thinking. Hail in February? But here's the thing. It is actually easier to get hail this time of year because the surface temperatures are already cold. You just need a strong enough updraft to keep those raindrops suspended and boom, hailstones hitting the ground. So if you are in that zone tonight, keep an ear out now. Let me time this out for you city by city because I know that is what you really want. Friday, February 27th. If you are waking up in South Carolina, especially south of Interstate 20, south of Interstate 85, into Georgia and Alabama, you are waking up to rain. The Florida Panhandle, same deal. Showers and storms ongoing into the morning hours. But the good news, if you are in Charlotte, the Raleigh-Durham area, by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, things start to dry out. So if you have got Friday evening plans, you should be okay. Coastal sections of the Carolinas, you might still see some leftover showers. And the Gulf Coast of Florida, along the Interstate 4 corridor, thunderstorms could linger into the evening. But Friday is also going to be wild for a completely different reason. And this is something I really want you to pay attention to because it sets up everything that happens afterward. Look at this. By 4 in the afternoon on Friday, temperatures across the heart of the country are going to be absurdly above average. Denver, 36 degrees above normal. Let me put that in perspective. If your average high in Denver is around 45 degrees in late February, we are talking about 81 degrees in February. In Denver, that is not spring, that is summer. Omaha, 40 degrees above normal. Topeka, 40 above. Chicago is going to feel warm. Kansas City is going to feel like early spring. Minneapolis, Des Moines, even Sioux Falls, all significantly above average. People are going to be walking around in shorts and t-shirts thinking winter is over. It is not over, not even close. And here is what nobody tells you. That warmth is the setup. That warm air is going to collide with a plume of cold air dropping out of Canada. And when those two air masses crash into each other, that is when things get real. Friday night into Saturday, overnight. Another shot of cold air starts pushing into the northern tier of the country. Snow begins building back into the Dakotas. You will see some flakes up in the St. Lawrence River Valley. By Saturday morning, a skinny band of snow stretches through the Dakotas, southern Minnesota, into parts of Iowa. A few snow or rain showers pop up in the northeast. But honestly, Saturday is not the big deal. Saturday is the calm before the storm. Let me say that again. Saturday is the calm before the storm, because Sunday is when things start to ramp up. And this is where I need you to pay close attention. If you have been half watching this video, now is the time to lock in, because the next few minutes could determine whether you are ready or caught off guard. Sunday, March 1st. Here is the timeline. The European computer model and the GFS model are not perfectly aligned on this, and that is important to understand. When models disagree, it means there is still uncertainty. But here is what they do agree on. A winter storm is coming Sunday into Monday. The disagreement is about how far south it tracks, how much cold air gets involved, and whether the heavier stuff ends up in the Ohio Valley or pushes farther into the northeast. The GFS is more aggressive. It brings ice and snow farther south all the way to the Ohio River and even gets a wintry mix as far south as Interstate 40 in North Carolina. The European model is a bit more conservative, keeping the heaviest snow from Iowa through Chicago and into the Great Lakes. Either way, you need to be ready. Sunday afternoon and evening. The European model shows winter weather breaking out across Iowa, mostly snow. Down into Missouri, it is mainly rain. But then a band of snow develops through Chicago, through parts of Indiana, Bloomington northward, Springfield northward, into Illinois, into parts of southern Michigan, across Ohio. That is round one. But here is the twist. That is not the end of it. Round two follows right behind. By Tuesday morning, warm air starts surging back north, and you get another round. This time, it is a snowy, icy mix mess stretching from Nebraska all the way through Chicago, southern Michigan, and into parts of the Northeast. For New England, this second round could start as snow, change to ice, then flip to rain. It is one of those storms that changes precipitation type 3 or 4 times, and that makes it incredibly difficult to forecast exact totals. Let me give you specific cities and what to expect. Des Moines, Iowa. Snow likely beginning Sunday afternoon. Accumulation possible. Travel could get dicey by Sunday evening. Chicago, Illinois. A band of snow moves through Sunday evening into overnight. This is not going to be a blockbuster, but it does not take much to snarl traffic on the expressways. If you are driving the Dan Ryan or the Kennedy on Sunday night, give yourself extra time. Indianapolis, Indiana. A wintry mix is likely. Could start as snow, change to sleet, maybe even freezing rain. This is the tricky zone where a few degrees makes all the difference. Cincinnati, Ohio. You are right on that rain-snow line. It could go either way. But if the cold air wins, you are looking at a coating of ice that could knock out power and make roads treacherous. Columbus, Ohio. Similar story. A mix of snow and ice Sunday night into Monday morning. Cleveland, Ohio. Snow is more likely here. The colder air has a better grip the farther north you go. Expect a few inches possible by Monday morning. Detroit, Michigan. Snow Sunday evening. Southern Michigan picks up the back edge of that band pushing through from Chicago. St. Louis, Missouri. You are right on the edge. Temperatures will be hovering right around freezing. This is one of those situations where it might start as rain and then flip to freezing rain or sleet as colder air wraps in behind the system. And let that sink in. Freezing rain in St. Louis is no joke. Even a quarter inch of ice can bring down tree limbs and power lines. Louisville, Kentucky. Freezing rain is a real concern here. The models are consistent on this. A glaze of ice is possible Sunday night into Monday. If you have got a generator, make sure it is fueled up. Kansas City, Missouri. You are on the western edge of this system. A wintry mix is possible late Sunday, but honestly, Kansas City might dodge the worst of it. The heaviest precipitation looks like it sets up east of you. Now here is the part that concerns me the most, and I am not trying to scare you. I am just being straight with you, because I would rather tell you something you do not want to hear now than have you deal with something you were not prepared for later. Between Kansas City and Richmond, Virginia, there is a real potential for a localized ice storm. The freezing rain zone. Let me explain what that means, because a lot of people do not fully understand how ice storms work. Here is the thing. Up in the atmosphere, there is a layer of warm air, warmer than 32 degrees. Snow falls from the clouds, hits that warm layer and melts into rain. Then that rain continues falling toward the ground, where the surface temperature is just below freezing. The rain hits the ground, hits your car, hits the power lines, and freezes on contact. That is freezing rain. And it is arguably the most dangerous form of winter precipitation. Why? Because you cannot see it like you can see snow. Roads look wet, but they are actually covered in a sheet of invisible ice. Power lines that normally sway in the wind become rigid and heavy, coated in a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch of solid ice. Tree branches that were perfectly fine yesterday suddenly snap under the weight. One ice storm can take down the power grid for an entire region for days. Eastern Kentucky. That is my biggest concern. The models keep painting a stripe of freezing rain right through that region. The terrain in Appalachia makes everything worse. Narrow mountain roads, steep grades, limited access for utility crews. If you have ever been through an ice storm in eastern Kentucky or West Virginia, you know exactly what I am talking about. Roads become impassable. Power goes out for days, sometimes a week or more in the most remote hollows. It is serious. So here is what I need you to do if you live anywhere from Kansas City through Louisville, through eastern Kentucky, through Charleston, West Virginia, up to Richmond, Virginia. Charge your devices this weekend. Have a flashlight ready. Stock up on water. Not because the world is ending, but because a 1/2 inch of ice can change your whole week. All right, now let me take you to the East Coast, because I know millions of you are watching from Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and New England. And you are wondering, what about us? Am I going to get hit? How bad is it going to be? Do I need to cancel my plans? Here is the deal, and I want to be honest with you because I think you deserve straight talk, not hype. Monday, March 2nd, the system pushes east. But here is the twist, and this is actually good news for a lot of you on the coast. The models are not showing a classic nor'easter. This is not one of those storms that curls up the coast, stalls off the New Jersey shore, and dumps 2 feet of snow on Boston. That is not what this is. Instead, it stays suppressed. It tracks south. What does that mean? It means the heaviest precipitation stays farther south and west. The Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic take the brunt of it. The Northeast gets the leftovers, but leftovers from a winter storm can still be dangerous. An inch of snow on untreated roads at 6 in the morning can cause just as many accidents as 6 inches. So do not let your guard down just because this is not a blockbuster. And here is the uncertainty you need to know about. The forecast track could shift 50 miles north or south over the next couple of days. 50 miles does not sound like much, but in winter weather forecasting, 50 miles is the difference between rain and a foot of snow. It is the difference between a normal Monday and a disaster Monday. So keep checking back. The forecast will sharpen as we get closer, but you are not off the hook. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A wintry mix Monday morning, snow, sleet, possibly some freezing rain. Plan for a slow commute. Give yourself an extra 30 to 45 minutes. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Light snow or a mix Monday morning into Monday afternoon. Probably not a huge accumulation, but enough to make roads slick. And with millions of commuters on the roads, even an inch can cause chaos. New York City. Here is the thing about New York. You are right on that rain-snow line. It could go either way. The models are split. Some show a quick coating of snow Monday morning. Others show mostly rain. But either way, it is going to be a raw, cold, damp day. Carry an umbrella. Wear layers. Newark, New Jersey. Same setup as New York. A mix is likely. Roads could be slippery during the morning commute. Hartford, Connecticut. Leaning more toward snow than mix. You are far enough north that the colder air has a better grip. A couple inches are possible. Providence, Rhode Island, snow likely Monday. Maybe 2 to 4 inches depending on how far north the heavier band sets up. Boston, Massachusetts, snow Monday into Monday evening. This is one of those storms where Boston could see 3 to 5 inches or it could see an inch. It all depends on whether the system tracks 50 miles north or south. That is the level of uncertainty we are dealing with right now. Portland, Maine. Snow is the most likely outcome here. Cold air is firmly in place. 3 to 6 inches possible. Burlington, Vermont. All snow. No question. This is the one area where the cold air is locked in tight. 4 to 7 inches possible Sunday night into Tuesday. Concord, New Hampshire. Same deal. All snow. Several inches likely. Albany, New York. A solid snowfall event. 3 to 5 inches possible Monday into Tuesday, Syracuse, New York. Snow. Lake-enhanced snow is also possible on the backside of this system. Could see locally higher amounts near the Finger Lakes and Tug Hill Plateau. Buffalo, New York, snow. Sunday night into Monday, but Buffalo, you have seen worse. This is a manageable event for you. 2 to 4 inches, Washington, D.C. A mix of rain and snow Monday. Temperatures right on the edge. Probably starts as snow, changes to rain. But if it stays colder longer, you could see a quick inch or two that snarls the morning commute on the Beltway, Richmond, Virginia. Rain changing to a wintry mix. This is the southern edge of the winter weather. Freezing rain is possible, especially in the western suburbs closer to the Blue Ridge. Now, I promised you something big at the 5-minute mark. And here it is, the pattern flip. This is the story that is going to dominate the weather for the next 2 weeks. And honestly, this is the story that could kick off severe weather season earlier than anyone expected. So what exactly is a pattern flip? Let me break it down in plain English because this matters. All winter long, we have been stuck in one configuration, a ridge of high pressure parked over the western United States, keeping things warm and dry out west. Meanwhile, troughs of low pressure have been diving into the eastern half of the country, bringing cold snaps and winter storms. That has been the story since December, but the jet stream is about to completely reorganize. The ridge that has been sitting over the west is going to collapse, and a new ridge is going to build over the east. At the same time, a deep trough is going to dig into the western United States. And when I say deep, I mean deep. This is the kind of trough that meteorologists get excited about and a little nervous about. What does that mean in real-world terms? It means cold air that has been bottled up in Canada is going to come crashing south into the Rockies and the Great Basin. And warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico is going to surge north across the plains and into the east. When those two air masses collide, the atmosphere becomes explosive. That is not hyperbole. That is basic atmospheric physics. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. When you put them next to each other, you get instability. Instability means thunderstorms, strong thunderstorms. And with the right wind shear, which we are going to have, those thunderstorms can produce tornadoes, large hail, and destructive straight-line winds. The European ensemble model, which looks at dozens of possible scenarios and averages them together, is showing this pattern becoming established around March 5th. And it does not just show up for a day, it amplifies. It gets stronger through the first and second week of March. The dew points, which measure moisture at the surface, start rising across the plains and the south. That is thunderstorm fuel, and the temperature anomalies flip dramatically. After a cold weekend, by Thursday of next week and beyond, we see widespread warming. Temperatures above average across most of the eastern two-thirds of the country. And here is what the severe weather probability maps are showing. Starting around March 5th, probabilities for severe weather begin ticking up in Texas and Oklahoma. Then they spread east into Dixie Alley, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia. By March 8th through March 12th, the entire region from the southern plains through the lower Mississippi Valley and into the southeast is highlighted for increased severe weather risk. Storm chasers are losing their minds right now. This is the kind of setup they wait all year for. But for the millions of people who live in these areas, this is not entertainment. This is life and safety. Here is what is happening. We have been stuck in a pattern all winter with warm temperatures in the west, cooler temperatures in the east. That pattern is about to completely reverse, flip, like somebody flipped a switch. By March 5th, warm air surges into the southeast, and I mean seriously warm. We are talking temperatures in the 60s and 70s in early March, from Minneapolis all the way down to Dallas. from Arkansas and Louisiana across Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and then March 8th. Oh, March 8th. Look at this. Temperatures 30 degrees above average from the Midwest to the East Coast. 60s and 70s as far north as New York City and Boston. That snow from this weekend? Gone. Melted. History. But wait. While the East gets warm, the West gets cold. Cooler than average temperatures start building into the Rockies, the Great Basin, the Pacific Northwest. And here is the thing about that combination. When you have cold air plunging into the west and warm, moist air surging into the east and the south, those two air masses have to meet somewhere. And where they meet, the atmosphere goes haywire. Thunderstorms, severe weather, heavy rain, flooding. Now let me walk you through this second phase, city by city, because do not miss this part. This is where it gets really intense. Wednesday, March 4th through Thursday, March 5th. This is when the first big wave of severe weather fires up. And let me tell you something, the ingredients for this setup are almost textbook perfect. You have got a deep trough of low pressure diving out of the Rockies. You have got a strong south to southwest wind at the surface pulling warm, moist Gulf air northward. Dew points are going to climb into the upper 50s and low 60s across the southern plains. That is jet fuel for thunderstorms. And aloft, you have got a powerful jet stream screaming across the country at over 100 miles per hour. That gives you wind shear. Wind shear is what turns ordinary thunderstorms into supercells. And supercells are what produce tornadoes. The Storm Prediction Center is already flagging this time frame. They have not issued official outlooks yet because we are still 6 or 7 days out. But they are highlighting the potential for an organized severe weather threat. When the Storm Prediction Center uses the word organized, that is code for this could be a significant event. Dallas, Texas. Thunderstorms likely Wednesday evening. Some could be severe. We are talking about the potential for large hail, damaging winds, maybe even an isolated tornado. Dallas, you are in the crosshairs for this first round. And here's the thing about Dallas. The metro area is massive. Over 7 million people. When a severe storm rolls through the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, it affects a staggering number of people. Roads flood quickly. Power outages can hit hundreds of thousands of homes. Do not wait until Wednesday afternoon to prepare. Do it now. Fort Worth, Texas. Same thing. Wednesday evening into overnight. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Severe storms possible Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This is classic Tornado Alley setup. A deep trough ejecting into the plains. Warm, moist air surging north from the Gulf of Mexico. All the ingredients are there. Tulsa, Oklahoma. In the zone. Wednesday night, Wichita, Kansas. On the northern edge of the severe weather threat Wednesday night. Little Rock, Arkansas. Heavy rain and thunderstorms Wednesday night into Thursday. Flash flooding is a real concern here. The ground is already saturated in parts of Arkansas from recent rain. Memphis, Tennessee. Storms roll in Thursday. Heavy rain. Possible severe weather. The Mississippi River Valley is going to be a focal point for flooding. Nashville, Tennessee. Thursday. A potent line of storms pushes through. Damaging winds are the primary concern, but tornadoes are possible with any bowing segment of the line. Nashville has been hit hard by tornadoes in recent years, and the city knows what it is like. If you are in Nashville, review your plan now. Know where you are going if the sirens go off. And if you are in a high-rise downtown, get to the lowest floor you can and stay away from windows. Springfield, Missouri. Heavy rain Wednesday through Friday. This is the bullseye for the highest rainfall totals, 2 to 4 inches widespread. Some spots could see 5 or more inches. Springfield sits right in the convergence zone where the cold air from the west and the warm air from the south are going to collide. And when that collision happens overhead, it is just nonstop rain, hour after hour. The James River and its tributaries could see significant rises. If you live near any waterway in the Springfield metro, this is the time to pay attention. And do not miss this next part, because the severe weather threat does not end Thursday. It continues Friday and possibly into the weekend. St. Louis, Missouri. Here we go again. Just days after dealing with ice, St. Louis gets hammered by heavy rain Thursday into Friday. Flash flooding is on the table. Jonesboro, Arkansas. Heavy rain, flooding risk elevated, 2 to 4 inches. Indianapolis, Indiana. Storms arrive Thursday evening. Heavy rain continues into Friday. After getting snow and ice early in the week, now you are dealing with rain and potential flooding. That is a rough combination. Chicago, Illinois. Storms Thursday night into Friday. Heavy rain, possibly severe. Wind is going to be the big story here as a cold front blasts through. Detroit, Michigan. Storms Friday, not as intense as what the southern cities see, but still enough to cause problems. Columbus, Ohio. Heavy rain Thursday night into Friday. Flash flood watches are likely. Cleveland, Ohio, same deal. Rain Thursday night into Friday. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Rain arrives Friday. Could be heavy at times. Birmingham, Alabama. Severe weather Thursday. Tornadoes possible. Birmingham, you know this drill. When the atmosphere goes unstable and you have got a strong jet stream overhead, Dixie Alley lights up. Stay weather aware. Birmingham has a tragic history with tornadoes, and the topography of central Alabama, with its ridges and valleys, can make storms behave in unpredictable ways. Tornadoes can be rain-wrapped and hard to see. Do not rely on your eyes. Rely on warnings. If your phone buzzes with a tornado warning, take it seriously every single time. Montgomery, Alabama. Also in the threat zone Thursday. Storms could be strong to severe by Thursday afternoon. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, right in the path. Thursday evening. This city knows tornado devastation firsthand. Be ready. Jackson, Mississippi. Storms Wednesday night through Thursday. Heavy rain. Flooding. Shreveport, Louisiana. Storms Wednesday evening could be severe. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Heavy rain Thursday. Flooding concerns. New Orleans, Louisiana. Rain Thursday into Friday. Localized flooding possible, especially in low-lying areas. Mobile, Alabama. Storms Thursday. Atlanta, Georgia. Severe weather possible Thursday afternoon into Thursday night. Damaging winds and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Atlanta is a sprawling metro with nearly 6 million people. And when severe storms hit during the evening commute, it becomes chaos on the interstates. If storms are approaching, do not get in your car. Stay put. A building is always safer than a vehicle in severe weather. Macon, Georgia. Storms Thursday night. Not as intense as Atlanta, but still enough to warrant attention. Augusta, Georgia. Storms Thursday night into Friday morning. Greenville, South Carolina. Storms late Thursday. The upstate is in the zone. Spartanburg, South Carolina, same as Greenville. Late Thursday storms. Charlotte, North Carolina. Storms Thursday night. Heavy rain. Raleigh, North Carolina. Storms late Thursday into Friday. Columbia, South Carolina. Storms Thursday night. Knoxville, Tennessee. Heavy rain Thursday. The mountains channel moisture and enhance rainfall totals. Flash flooding in the Smoky Mountain foothills is a concern. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Storms Thursday into Thursday night. Huntsville, Alabama. Severe weather Thursday. The Tennessee Valley is one of the most tornado-prone areas in the country during events like this. Paducah, Kentucky. Flooding. Major concern. The confluence of the Ohio and Tennessee rivers makes this area extremely vulnerable to heavy rainfall events. 2 to 4 inches of rain on top of any snowmelt from this weekend is a recipe for rising rivers. Evansville, Indiana. Heavy rain Thursday into Friday. Ohio river levels could rise. Topeka, Kansas. Storms Wednesday night on the northern edge of the severe threat. Omaha, Nebraska. You might catch the tail end of storms Wednesday night, but you are on the fringe. Minneapolis, Minnesota, warming up dramatically by midweek. Rain possible late in the week, but the severe stuff stays south of you. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, warming up. Rain possible, but not in the severe weather zone. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Rain Thursday into Friday. Breezy, not severe, but still impactful. Madison, Wisconsin, same as Milwaukee. Rain and wind. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Light rain possible. You are on the northern edge. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Rain and storms. Friday. Lexington, Kentucky. After ice early in the week, heavy rain arrives Thursday. Flooding risk. The Bluegrass region could see standing water in low-lying fields and roads. Frankfort, Kentucky. Same story. Ice early in the week, rain later. The Kentucky River could see rises. Charleston, West Virginia. Rain, and lots of it. The terrain in West Virginia amplifies rainfall. Water funnels down mountain slopes and into narrow valleys. Flash flooding in mountain valleys is a serious concern, and with the potential for ice damage to trees earlier in the week, debris could clog storm drains and culverts, making flooding even worse. Norfolk, Virginia. Storms Friday. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Same. Storms Friday. Gusty winds possible along the coast. Wilmington, North Carolina. Storms Thursday night into Friday. Savannah, Georgia. Storms Thursday. Jacksonville, Florida. Thunderstorms Thursday into Friday, Tampa, Florida. Storms possible Friday. Not the main target, but the outer bands of this system reach down into Central Florida, Orlando, Florida. Similar. Scattered storms Friday, Miami, Florida. You are mostly out of the main threat zone, but gusty showers are possible late in the week. Amarillo, Texas. On the dry side, cold air wraps in behind the system. Maybe some snow on the backside for the Texas Panhandle. San Antonio, Texas. Storms Wednesday night. Southern Texas picks up the warm sector storms. Austin, Texas. Same as San Antonio. Storms Wednesday night into Thursday. Houston, Texas. Heavy rain Thursday. Flooding is always a concern in Houston. With 2 to 3 inches possible, urban flooding could be an issue. El Paso, Texas. Mostly dry. You are on the other side of the trough. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Dry. Cold air settles in behind the trough, but not much precipitation. Phoenix, Arizona. Dry, cool. Not involved in this system. Las Vegas, Nevada. Dry. Not involved. Denver, Colorado. After being 40 degrees above average on Friday, Denver cools down significantly by midweek. A few snow showers possible on the backside of the trough. Salt Lake City, Utah. Cooler temperatures arrive, mountain snow possible, valley stays dry, Boise, Idaho, cool. Not involved in the main weather action, Seattle, Washington. Cooler and damp. But that is just Seattle being Seattle. Portland, Oregon. Same as Seattle. Typical Pacific Northwest weather. San Francisco, California. Cool. Some rain possible. Los Angeles, California. Mild and dry for now. Not part of this pattern. All right, so let me zoom out and give you the big picture on rainfall. The Weather Prediction Center is highlighting a zone from Oklahoma City up to Indianapolis, from Springfield, Missouri, down to Jonesboro, Arkansas, from Kansas City over to Nashville as the hot spot for the heaviest rain over the next 7 days. A lot of that falls toward the end of the 7-day period. How much rain are we talking about? 2 to 4 inches widespread across that zone, and that is on the low end. Some areas could see 5, 6, even 7 inches when you add up multiple rounds of thunderstorms. To put that in perspective, an average rain event drops maybe half an inch to an inch. We are talking about 4 to 7 times that amount in some places. That is a tremendous amount of water in a short period of time. Rivers will rise, creeks will overflow, low water crossings will become death traps. Do not drive through flooded roads. I cannot say that enough. Turn around, do not drown. Every single year, people die because they think their truck can make it through 2 feet of water. It cannot. And here is a twist that might surprise you. This rain is actually going to fall right on top of an area that has been dealing with drought. Parts of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, they have been drier than normal. So in a weird way, this heavy rain could actually help relieve some of that drought. But it is a double-edged sword. And here is what nobody tells you about rain falling on drought-stricken ground. Too much rain too fast means flash flooding, even in drought-stricken areas. Actually, especially in drought-stricken areas, the ground gets hard when it is dry. It forms a crust. It cannot absorb water quickly, so the first couple inches run off instead of soaking in. The water has nowhere to go except downhill. And downhill usually means into somebody's yard, somebody's basement, somebody's car. The Climate Prediction Center is showing a much above normal precipitation zone from Dallas up to Memphis, through Springfield, even extending toward Detroit and Chicago over the 6 to 10-day period. That means from about 6 days from now through 10 days from now, it is going to be storm after storm after storm in that region. And here is the kicker. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook shows the pattern flip crystal clear. Much warmer than normal in the east, cooler in the west. And that pattern does not just last a day or two, it looks like it persists well into the second week of March, maybe even longer. So what does all of this mean? It means severe weather season is kicking off early this year. The Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting this period for organized severe weather potential. Storm chasers across the country are watching this like hawks. This is the kind of setup that gets people checking their fuel tanks and tuning up their chase vehicles. Now let me be real with you for a second. I am not trying to scare anybody. That is not what this is about. This is about being prepared. This is about knowing what is coming so you can make smart decisions. So here is what I want you to do, and I am being serious here. Take 15 minutes this weekend and do these things. If you live in the winter storm zone, the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, here is your checklist. Charge all your devices, phone, tablet, laptop. If the power goes out, you want to be able to get weather alerts. Have a flashlight with fresh batteries. not your phone flashlight, a real flashlight, because if you lose power for 2 days, your phone battery is going to be more valuable for communication than for light. Stock up on water, 1 gallon per person per day for at least 3 days. Get some non-perishable food, canned soup, crackers, peanut butter, nothing fancy. Fill your gas tank. If the power goes out, gas stations cannot pump gas. And if you have a generator, test it now. Not Monday morning when the ice is already on the lines. Test it today or tomorrow. Make sure it runs. Make sure you have fuel. If you live in the severe weather zone, the South, the lower Midwest, the Plains, here is what you need to do. Know where your safe room is. Interior room, lowest floor, away from windows. A bathroom, a closet under the stairs. If you have a basement, that is even better. If you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, you need to identify a sturdy building nearby where you can go if a tornado warning is issued. Mobile homes offer almost zero protection in a tornado. That is not an opinion. That is a fact backed by decades of storm damage surveys. Have a weather radio. You can get one for about $20 to $30 at any hardware store or online. It will wake you up at 2 in the morning if a tornado warning is issued. Your phone might do the same thing, but a weather radio is a backup. And in severe weather, backups save lives. If you are in the flood zone, the Mississippi Valley, the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio River Corridor, know your flood risk. Do you live in a floodplain? Do you live near a creek or a river? Have you flooded before? If the answer to any of those is yes, pay extra attention to this forecast. Have a plan to get to higher ground. Know your evacuation routes. And again, never, ever drive through flooded roads. 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet. 12 inches can carry away a small car. 24 inches can sweep away a pickup truck. Those are not made-up numbers. That is real data from the National Weather Service. And then, by the middle of next week, when the severe weather threat ramps up, stay weather aware. Pay attention to watches and warnings. A watch means conditions are favorable for severe weather. A warning means it is happening right now and you need to take action immediately. If a tornado warning is issued for your area, do not go outside to look. Do not stand by windows. Get to your safe spot immediately. Do not wait. Let me give you a quick recap of the timing, because timing is everything. And I want you to be able to screenshot this part or write it down so you know exactly what is coming and when. Tonight, Thursday, February 26th. Strong storms possible in central Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. Hail possible. Heavy rain in the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic. If you are in those areas, keep your weather app handy tonight. Do not be caught off guard by a late-night thunderstorm. Friday, February 27th. Rain continues in the southeast through the morning, drying out by afternoon for most areas. Record warmth possible across the central United States. Denver could hit the low 80s. Omaha could touch 70. It is going to feel like a completely different season. Enjoy it, because it is the calm before everything changes. Saturday, February 28th. Calm day for most of the country. Light snow in the Dakotas and parts of Minnesota and Iowa. This is your day to prepare. I cannot stress this enough. Saturday is your window. Go to the store, get your supplies, check your roof, clean your gutters, make sure your sump pump works. If you have a generator, test it. If you need batteries, buy them. Do not wait until Sunday when the storm is already on your doorstep. Sunday, March 1st. Winter storm ramps up. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain develop across the Ohio Valley by the afternoon and evening. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, all in the crosshairs. Travel becomes dangerous by Sunday evening across a wide swath of the Midwest. If you do not have to be on the road Sunday night, stay home. Monday, March 2nd. The storm pushes east. Wintry mix and snow for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Icy conditions from Kansas City to Richmond. Morning commute disrupted in Pennsylvania, New York, and New England. Storm peaks Monday morning through Monday afternoon for the East Coast. Schools could be delayed or closed. Flights could be canceled or delayed out of major hubs like Philadelphia, Newark, LaGuardia, JFK, and Boston Logan. If you have travel plans Monday, build in extra time and have a backup plan. Tuesday, March 3rd. The winter storm exits the Northeast. Some lingering snow in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Cold air hangs on one more day, but look west. Warmth is already building. Temperatures across the plains start climbing. You can feel the atmosphere shifting gears. Wednesday, March 4th. The pattern flip kicks in hard. Warm air surges north across the entire eastern half of the country. Temperatures jump 15 to 25 degrees above where they were just 2 days ago. And in the southern plains, the severe weather machinery starts cranking. Thunderstorms fire up in Texas and Oklahoma by the evening hours. The first round of heavy rain begins in the Mississippi Valley. This is the beginning of a multi-day event. Thursday, March 5th. This is the peak day for severe weather. I want you to circle this day on your calendar. Storms from Dallas to Chicago, heavy rain from Springfield to Nashville. Flooding risk escalates across multiple river basins. Tornadoes possible across the South and lower Midwest. The Storm Prediction Center could issue enhanced or even moderate risk outlooks for parts of the region. If you live anywhere from central Texas through the Tennessee Valley, this is the day to stay plugged into your local forecast. Friday, March 6th. Storms push through the Ohio Valley and the southeast. Heavy rain continues. River levels start rising. Flash flood watches and warnings become widespread. Cities like Louisville, Evansville, Paducah, and Memphis are watching river gauges closely. Saturday, March 7th through Sunday, March 8th. The pattern remains active. Temperatures across the east soar into the 60s and 70s. In some spots, it might feel more like May than early March. Any remaining snow from the previous weekend melts rapidly, adding snowmelt runoff to the already swollen rivers and streams. Additional rain is possible, which only adds to the flooding concern. This could become a prolonged flooding event in the Tennessee and lower Mississippi valleys if the rain keeps coming as the models suggest. And beyond March 8th, the models are showing this active pattern continues. More storms, more severe weather potential. The trough in the west deepens. The ridge in the east strengthens. It is a textbook setup for an active early spring severe weather season. The European ensembles keep this pattern amplifying even into the middle of March. That could mean week after week of storm systems rolling through the plains in the south. This is not a one-time event. This is a regime change in the atmosphere. So let me ask you this. Are you ready? Because the next 2 weeks are going to be a roller coaster. Winter storm this weekend, severe weather next week, flooding, tornadoes, record warmth, all within a 10-day span. I have been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you, transitions like this are when the most dangerous weather happens. The atmosphere is out of balance. It is trying to equalize. And when it does that, it does it violently. Think about it this way. Imagine you have a pot of water on the stove. You turn the heat up on one side and leave the other side cold. What happens? The water starts swirling. It starts churning. The bigger the temperature difference, the more violent the churning. That is exactly what is happening in our atmosphere right now. The east is the hot side, the west is the cold side, and the churning in between is where we get our storms. Now, I need your help with something. Drop a comment below with your city and state. I am going to be putting together localized forecasts for the areas with the most comments. If you want specific timing and totals for your area, let me know. Tell me what you are most concerned about. Is it the ice this weekend? Is it the flooding next week? Is it severe weather? Let me know and I will address it. And if you know someone who lives in any of the areas I just mentioned, share this video with them. Send them the link. Text it to them. Because the number one reason people are not prepared for severe weather is that they did not know it was coming. You can change that for someone you care about with one simple share. If this video helped you, if it gave you information you needed to prepare, hit that subscribe button. Because we are about to enter the most active stretch of weather we have seen in months, and I am going to be covering every single storm system that comes through. Every update, every shift in the models, every new warning, you will find it here. And do not forget to hit the notification bell, because when severe weather is approaching, timing matters. You do not want to find out about a tornado warning from your neighbor knocking on your door. You want to know before it happens. That is what we do here. One more thing before you go. And do not skip this part because this is important. In the next video, I am going to break down the severe weather season outlook for 2026, the full seasonal forecast. Which areas are most at risk for tornadoes this spring? Which cities need to be on high alert? Is the La Nina pattern going to make things worse or better? And is this year going to be above average for tornado activity? I have been combing through the data all week, looking at sea surface temperatures, the state of the jet stream, historical analogs, and let me just say this, what I am seeing in the numbers is going to surprise a lot of people. Some areas that normally do not see much severe weather could be in the hot seat this year, and some areas that are usually the most active might actually catch a break. It is a fascinating setup and I cannot wait to share it with you. That video drops early next week, Monday or Tuesday, so make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it. All right, let me leave you with this final thought. Weather does not care about your plans. It does not care that you have a Monday morning meeting or a Thursday flight. It does not care that you just cleaned your gutters or that your roof is brand new. The only thing you can control is how prepared you are. And right now you have the advantage. You know what is coming. Use that knowledge. Prepare this weekend. Stay aware next week and take care of each other. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one.